Alright guys, so we're going for the front fork service on 2012 Trek Fuel EX9. So the first thing we got to do, of course, is take the front wheel off. That was the easy bit. Okay, next we've got to remove the disc brake caliper because we don't want to break the system open and have to redo the fluid. So you've got a few pieces in here. Probably best to try to get some tape or something to keep it all together. You don't want to lose track of these things. Okay, so you see I've just taped the bolts lightly so nothing falls apart because this is going to hang free. Now the next is to remove the handlebars. So just loosen the top nut first just a bit. And then we do the stem clamps. Just loosen them up. Now be careful because the fork, when you take this off, it could actually slide out. You don't want to just let it drop on the floor. Alright, so now that's all staying in place, which is good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hang these in such a way not to put too much pressure on the cables. I guess I'll just wrap it kind of like that. And cable ties. That should be good. Now take the spacers out and it should just pop right out. There it is. Alright, so there's your fork out and ready to be serviced. Alright guys, so I've put the fork in my bike stand. Just makes it easier to work with. I've got to take that grub screw loose for this adjuster here because that's got to come off. 2mm hex. And these usually aren't that tight, so you should be able to just twist it. If not, you'll have to put the other end in. Now, you don't need to take it all the way out, but I did. And you've got a 10mm on the bottom of this leg. So just loosen that up. And then this one, didn't think it was, but looks like it is also a 10mm. To bust these loose, but the trick is if you leave the nut on, you can tap it and it should pop free. You just tap them, okay, and it just should break free. They do sell a special tool for this, but typically if you're careful you can get these off without too much trouble. Okay, and if we played our cards right, the oil will start running out like that, and the legs should come free. There you have it. Alright guys, so one of the tricks I use is I take a long piece of old t-shirt that's clean, just kind of sink it down in there as best I can. Take my little tube, you can use a dowel or this is a piece of old PVC pipe, and just slide it down in there as best you can and just kind of damp it down in there to get that oil up out of there. You want to get as much of the old oil out as you can. Just have it all cleaned off in there. Okay, once you've got all the oil cleared out, you'll want to take like a little pick tool, and you've got these wipers. It's just a little piece of felt, but that you got to get those out of there because you have new replacements. And then the seal is right here, so getting that out can be a bit tricky. I use like a little pry bar tool like this. You got to be careful. You don't want to stick it in too far and muck up the side. But if you get it just right, which I never do on the first try, you can pop them out. Yeah, there it goes. And there it goes. Alright, there's the other one. So I got them cleaned out. They look pretty clean and dry, but I'm going to wipe them out real good. And some people will say put oil in there. I don't really agree with that because you don't want these coming out. So I use like a solvent to clean that, some isopropyl or something, just clean it real good. You don't want to get the solvent down in here where the oil's going to be. I don't like putting solvent where I'm going to have oil. But these you want to just dampen a rag with it and clean it so it's really good so the new ones will stick in. Alright, so I'm going to put my seals in. Here's the first one. I cleaned them with some isopropyl because they do have a wax on them to help them bring them out of the presses that they're made in. And a lot of guys will soak their wipers in oil and stick them in first, but I like this to be all dry when I put them in. So you just set it in there. And they do make a special tool for this. However, if you get the right size plastic, you can just take it give it a few more wraps. Okay, let's take a look all the way around. That's looking pretty good. Alright, let's get the other one. Get it seated. And of course I have a piece of wood. I'm not just... Your fork lowers are made out of an alloy, which is not all that strong, so you don't want to be pounding it into a concrete floor. Alright, so there they are. Not much to it. And like I said, it's not exact. If you want to buy the tool, by all means, it's like $35 for the tool, but this worked okay. Just take the seal with you to the hardware store and find a PVC that'll work. Alright guys, here's the 10-weight green, and since it's pretty full, I think I'll just stick them in there with my finger. They'll get oil on them as the shot goes up and down. Trust me, that oil will be moving around in there. So then you just stick them in there. It's not hard. There they are. They're in place. These go in very easy. There's a little area there. Alright, and then I'll just wipe some excess oil around here. Alright guys, so now I'm going to slide the lowers on. And with brand new seals, this can be a bit tricky. But with a little perseverance, it'll happen. You just got to try to line them up as best you can. And just wiggle them a little bit. As long as they're clean. There they go. This is the 30 cc's or 30 milliliters of green. Goes in each leg. So before you put it together, you gotta squirt the fluid in there. I'll do the top one first. Okay, there's that one. And we got 30 mils will go in this one. There we go. Alright, well, we lost a little bit, but I'm not going to worry about that little bit. Okay, so now I've got this lower leg out. So I got that. So now I just need to thread this bolt on, or this nut. Okay, so once you get this threaded on, you may have to hold it with something and give it a few turns with your wrench just to get it started. because the damper side will push back in. The air spring side won't. You can push on that a lot. The air holds it out, but the damper side is the one you want to get on first. Now that that one's on, I'm going to try to push this on, and I can see try to get the lower spring. It's come through, and then okay, let's get this guy started. And then now that that one's started, I'm going to go ahead and tighten this lower one up and reinstall the adjustment knob down there with the 2mm grub screw. There's a torque spec for these, but I don't really know what it is. Alright guys, so the last thing I did was put the adjustment knob on and tighten the grub screw. And these babies are done. They're ready to go. Alright guys, so I put the bike back up on the bike rack, and you just want to check your headset bearings to make sure they're good. And then I'm going to get ready to slide it in. But yeah, let me just go ahead and do that. Slide it up through. Top piece that goes on, keep it sealed. Okay, that'll help hold it in place. Put the spacers back on. Okay. Make sure your cables are where you want them before you stick things back together. Alright. Slide them on. Go ahead and put the top piece in. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and tighten this up. And this is where you get your tightness for your bearings. You want to make sure there's no slack there. You don't want to go super tight on this, but you don't want to leave it loose either. Okay, and then you just need to line up the handlebars. Just need to tighten them up pretty snug. I may actually go get my torque wrench, and I think it's about 40 to 60 inch-pounds, something like that. But I kind of remember how tight they were when I took them off too, so we can go by that. Yeah, that one's tight. Alright, go ahead and put the brake caliper back on, put the tire on, and test this thing out. So the last thing I need to do, guys, is put my brakes on. And I put the wheel on so I could just slide the caliper on. Just be real careful. Slide it right on. Get it lined up. Start the screws. And then bring them in till they're just slightly snug so that you can adjust the brake caliper. Okay, so I've got it in. Give it a spin and then hit your brake lever, and what that does is it helps center the caliper on the disc. So now make sure when you spin the tire it's not rubbing. You'd hear it if it did. So this one's not rubbing, so I'm just going to go ahead and tighten these up tighter, and then I'll check it 1 second time after I tighten it up. So give it a spin, no rubbing, still works good. We're good. There is a torque spec for these. I'm not sure exactly what it is, probably about 60 inch-pounds would be my guess, but I just give them a good hard snug tight and they're good. Alright guys, that is the build. We're going to go ride this thing and hopefully everything will work out great. Thanks for watching.